Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Hello there. Welcome back to the number one Contender podcast. We talk the movie trivia Schmoedown, and we're nerds. And I would like to think that we're your favorite nerds. I am sleepy, and my head hurts. And I am joined by Travis Grossman, whose hair is short and has no facial hair, but is still devilishly handsome.
I have de-aged by about 15 years. In about 5 days, I'll be back up to like 2021.
We'll have him back soon, folks. Just wanted to stop by real quick and talk about the Schmoedown Awards. I am going to check the Facebook group real quick because do we have a date for Chandru versus Smets? Is that what I'm seeing? Is that what I'm hearing?
If there is one, you are more likely to know as a patron.
Okay, yeah, I'll look then. Let's look on the Patreon real quick. Schmoedown. Not seeing on here.
Then there probably isn't a date set yet. We just know that it's going to be the first pay-per-view of the year. So probably the first match of the year. Who knows?
Actually, wait. I think at some point I have to change my membership. Because I'm only seeing up to January 8th or 28th. And since they did change the Schmoedown, I may actually be technically bumped. It is still showing me as a $10 patron. But that tier does not exist anymore. It is the $12 tier. So, yeah, well, whenever it comes around, we'll be here to talk Smets v. Gallen, we'll be here to talk Smets v. Kalinowski. That's for damn sure. But Smets v. Dondapani, which is what is actually coming up sooner than the alternative. So that's on the horizon. The season is starting soon. But we're going to run through real quick here. Not a super long show for you guys. The winner of the Schmoedown Awards. So we are going to start from the bottom and go up like we did before. We're going to start with Schmoedown Media of the Year. From a certain point of view, pulled that one down. Beat out Let's Get Ready to Talk Schmoedown, Schmo Me the Money, Spin from the Reel, and Ultimate Schmoedown After Show. Babyface of the Year went to one Nikki DeMolanta. Beat out the Kid, beat out Beth May, beat out Janine, and beat out Bibbs. But yeah, I am not surprised by this. I kind of saw this one coming. So
this just means that the Kid has to turn heel now. So,
I would love that for both of us. Speaking of heels, Chandru Dondapani won this one. He beat out Gold Leader, Gucci, KO, and Rick Radis. I think he was very deserving of this one. Like I said, when you are enough of a villain to make a crowd cheer for Kalinowski, someone who is, easy boo material, that's Chandru. Chandru has been a great villain. He's become like one of the best villains in the Schmoedown. Faction of the Year. I think this is the first and maybe the only award here. I am going to very full-throatedly say the wrong decision was made. Faction of the year. The nominees were the usual suspects: the Quirky Mercs, Corruption, and the Dungeon. It went to the Finstock Exchange. I understand why, and I understand why the Finstock Exchange was nominated. And I think if someone were to say, okay, faction of the year can't go to the faction that won the faction race, then I would say the Finstock Exchange. However, the Finstock Exchange was never belted this season. There were no belts that came and went.
Despite that, they were leading the faction race going into Spectacular.
They were leading the faction race,
which meant they had to win more matches than any other team, right? So
yeah, that's true. I will give you that. However, I think if we're gonna go, the dossier was proven right so hard that they've won this award. They should at least have ended this season with one belt. And I don't think they did that. And one faction holds half of the belts. So I think I think that there is something to be said there. I think a consistent level of managerial competence that has reached over the last 2 seasons and has stayed consistent, that Shannon has been able to conquer insurmountable odds with her team, with her hitters. I think I think Corruption deserved this one, and that's not just the blind loyalty and fandom talking. I don't think the dossier proved itself as much as some people are saying. I think it proved. I think it worked. Like, the strategy worked, but they weren't able to stick the landing. And that's the final part of working.
But if they had fragilely gotten to a belt mid-season and then fallen apart at the seams,
yeah,
this wouldn't even be a discussion. The fact that they held steady for so long and only choked in the final game, right?
Yeah. Like I said, they deserve accolade.
I'm gonna talk football because the Super Bowl is this weekend, and I have to talk football at work because everyone around me talks football. Patrick Mahomes is only in his second season in the NFL, I think. Don't quote me on that. And he's one of the best young quarterbacks in the league, and he hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he was at one and almost got to two, right?
Yep.
Griffey Nooms hasn't won a belt yet, but the fact that he played for 2 in his rookie season, that's spectacular.
Yeah. Incredible. So, yeah, like I said, I'm a little on faction of the year, but
they also said it was the closest vote they'd ever had. So
yeah,
it was probably a difference of 3 people.
Probably. And they earned it. They absolutely earned it. Match of the year. Shazam versus the Yoder couple. Shazam versus Corruption 2. Dan Merle versus Adam Collins 2. Janine v. Marisol McKee. Kalinowski versus Robert Parker. Kalinowski versus Paul Walker Hauser. Kalinowski versus Chandra Dandapani. Thomas Harper versus Nikki DiMolanta. Deception versus Blackjack. And our winner, Andrew DiMolanta versus Alex Damon 1. Which is the rightful winner, in my opinion. We talked about a lot how one second here, I'm trying to look at this. We talked a lot about how the tone of this season was set by Alex Damon versus DiMolanta 2. Or DiMolanta 1 rather. So it makes me happy to see this win. It earned its place. This is the beginning of 5150. This is the beginning of a lot of stuff that became the standard bearer for what to expect from this season of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. So I'm happy to see this one win.
I'm not surprised, and I think it's deserving. I think the only other one that could have even been in contention really was Kalinowski v. Chandru, but deserving match one. So
Yeah, that or Kalinowski v. Parker was like my alternate pick. But
that would have been number 3
Yeah.
for me, I think.
Speaking of Chandru and Mike, feud of the year: the Demolantes versus Alex Damon, Dan Murrell versus John Roca, Gold Leader versus Tom Harper, and Ben Bateman v. Paige for Betty. But our winners are Chandru the Chosen Dandapani and Mike the Killer Kalinowski. This is my new. I mean, now that I don't have Roca to have bad blood with everybody, my favorite rivalry right now is KO and Chandru. I love this like fun little dynamic that is the Kalinowski Smets rivalry being intersected with the Kalinowski Chandru rivalry, and then intersected yet again with Smets and Chandru. There's a very fun like we're gonna be doing this dance for the rest of our lives vibe from the three of them that I like a lot. And this is how it manifested for the lion's share of this season, was seeing these two go at it. Again, I love seeing a villain so bad it makes someone who's already a villain look like a hero. So it was good stuff. It's good stuff. I'm glad this one won. Podcast of the year: Beyond the Schmoedown, From a Certain Point of View, Machine Mondays, Schmoedown Backstage, and the Schmoedown Rundown. The winners were the number one Contender podcast. Moving on. No, it was Schmoedown Rundown. Rightfully so. Our buddy Frank. Yeah, good for them. Glad they won it. They deserve it. I love what they do. Frank and Brad are great. And Frank is a very nice person. So it's very good to see that. Upset of the year. This is the other one I very much disagree with. Janine v. Dan Murrell. Andrew Demolanta v. Alex Damon. Nikki Demolanta v. Alex Damon. The Press Room v. Danger Zone. And the winner was Paige for Betty beats Ben Bateman. This should have been Machine and Dan. This should have either been Machine and Dan or Andrew and Damon. Those were both like the, oh my God. Like, I don't see, again, big fan of Ben Bateman. I think he's incredible. I don't think he sits in the realm of dominance that Dan Murrell does or that Alex Damon had over Star Wars. Like, when I think of Bateman, I think of someone who is very tough to beat, but beatable. Anytime Dan Murrell plays, most people bet on Murrell for a reason. Bateman is a proven commodity, of course, but he is not as proven as his teammate. And I think to acknowledge that is to just kind of address that, I don't think this one carried as much weight as the others, but yeah, that's how everybody voted. So congratulations to them. Again, everybody deserves these awards. They absolutely earned them. There's not a single one or competitor or match or whatever that is nominated that doesn't deserve its nomination. It's just not how I voted. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm like, oh, it does deserve to be there. It absolutely does. Everything that's here deserves to be here and get its awards and get its druthers and celebration. I'm just saying what I personally voted for.
Yeah, I think this one just got like the most media hubbub, I think more people were talking about it on social media after the fact. Because like even though like Dan and Janine was a big one, but it did feel like it had less of an impact. Like less people were talking about it in the Facebook group. They weren't talking about it as much like on the after shows. It felt like it just kind of happened and everyone went, that was awesome for Janine, and we moved on. And I think like at the time, like simultaneously, we were also swept up in, is Griffey Nooms going to do it? right?
Yeah, I do think it did get kind of muddled in the breakneck pace of tournament season. Like
Versus
that was so
Freddie Bateman
early
was
in the
so yeah, that was round 2, and then they had their rematch in teams, and so it was one of those like, they got to like play with that. It also was in feud of the year as a nomination, so I think they got to play with that more, and people remembered the upset more. So
That's fair. That's fair.
I agree with you, though. I still think Janine and Dan should have won, but it is what it is.
Alrighty. Comeback player of the year. Mark Knopic, JTE, Andrew DiMolanta, Dave Del Rio, and our winner, Janine the Machine. I think fair compensation for not getting upset is getting comeback. Janine had again, everybody was very affable in their acceptance. Going back to upset, Paige was very funny in her acceptance speech. I also, Travis, just so you know, only have a few minutes before the voice meter potato makes me silent for like 2 minutes. So if I abruptly stop talking, that it's time for you to vamp. Because
I'll
I've
do
been
my
on my
best.
computer all day, and then I took a nap and didn't turn it off because I didn't want to lose anything I hadn't saved yet. So Janine the Machine, comeback player, the year. I skipped over an award in the list here. We had the Wildberries reuniting at Spectacular 6 for moment of the year.
T-public.com.
We don't
Thank
have
you for the
belts.
quick
We have
plug there.
shirts.
No belts, we have shirts. Marisol McKee wins title, becoming first woman to win singles championship. Myra Kanopek returns and wins the Inner Geekdom belt. And Andrew DiMolanta versus Damon won, score of 51-50 in sudden death. The winner, of course, was the return of Kevin the Smasher Smets. And rightfully so. You and I said whenever we were going over the nominees that this one felt so head and shoulders over everything else that it almost kind of didn't, like, you almost shouldn't nominate it. Like, it's such a heavy
Yeah.
hitter.
Like
It's
they
one
knew
of,
how big this would be because they put it at the end of Spectacular, like the biggest Spectacular we'd ever had, with some of the heaviest matches we'd ever seen, and they were like, "Yeah, this is a good way to end it."
yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a
I
good
think everything,
finale.
yeah, I think all the weight that this carries is self evident. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not saying like they did a bad job. They shouldn't have nominated it. They absolutely
Oh,
should have. You
yeah.
have to. You can't not. It's just so very much the obvious thing. Hell, when we finished Spectacular, I said, well, there's moment of the year.
Yeah.
Like it's a layup. So that was an easy pick, I think, for everybody. So yeah, moving right along here. We're actually almost done. Like I said, it's going to be a short episode because I am not feeling great, and we're just recapping the awards. Rookie of the year: Amaru Moses, Josh Horowitz, Thomas Harper, Nikki DiMolanta, and our winner, Downtown Griffey Nooms. I was Team Thomas Harper for Rookie of the Year, but I don't have a problem with Griffin winning it. I think it's a good pick. I understand why. I understand how he's going to be one of the most dominant players in the history of this game, and everybody is on notice because of his very existence. So I get him winning. However, I do lean towards Thomas Harper as the guy who went into the newly destabilized Star Wars division and got his belt. I think he was slightly more deserving just because he ended the season belted. But that's me.
I mean, so the difference being Griffey Nooms won 2 tournaments,
Yeah.
and you know, in 2 different. Granted, it's singles and teams, not like intergeek them in singles, which I think is a little more impressive. Uh,
Yeah.
and who knows, we might see him break an intergeek in 2 just because he can. In the same way that like a lot, if you're into movies, you could probably play intergeekdom in some capacity. Oh, you just gave me the signal because your thing cut out. Got it. Well, then I'm gonna sit here and say nothing. and make you uncomfortable. Oh wait, can you not hear me? Oh, I might have just stopped recording in general. That's not good. I did a bit, but now I'm not doing a bit, and now I can't tell if you can hear me. So if this isn't recording, that's good. He just texted me. No, he didn't. No, he did not. That was not a text from him. That's a text from him. But my phone's over there, and I'm not getting up to get it. You can't make me. You cannot hear me. Look up. Look up at me. You're not looking up at me, so you can't hear me. You can't hear me, can you? All right, I'll go get my phone. Yes, I figured out what's happening. Can you not hear me? Fantastic. You have to speak for me to be able to hear you. Try speaking. I can't tell if I can hear you if you don't speak. Oh, I could hear that. That's good. Slurs. Hate
And
speech,
I'm back.
slurs. Hate speech. Sorry, I was screaming a lot. Are we going to edit out that brick of silence where I definitely didn't use any hate speech?
I was going to, but now I wasn't going to, but now I feel inclined to check.
The entire thing is me saying, and I don't know if it could hear me. If it couldn't hear me, that's fine. But it was just me going, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I don't think you can hear me. And then you texted, can you hear me? But then didn't say anything. Like you just sat there with your head down. And I was like, I can't tell if I can hear you.
Well, you would have heard me because $10 patron Nick Johnson tagged me on something on Twitter that I looked at, and it was that clip from House of Gucci that's been going around where Paolo just goes, and then it slowly transitions into his car honking. So you definitely would have heard me because I played that with my volume on. So yeah, sorry about that. Little technical limitation one of our audio apps has. So apologies there. Manager
anywho.
of the year. Huh?
I was just going to finish my thought on Griffin.
Oh, please do. I thought you did while it was in the weird silence.
No, because I don't think I was being recorded.
I think it does pick up other people. I think StreamYard is still catching other people because it's StreamYard recording, not my computer.
Okay. Well, we'll find out. Whatever.
You
But
guys
no,
let us know.
I think it would be a little more impressive if he did it in singles and like Inner Geekdom or singles in Star Wars, obviously. But that's just so much extra information he has to retain.
Yeah.
And still doing it in singles and teams is insane. Like being a a tournament winner in one season is nuts. So I definitely think he's deserving. I mean, obviously they're all deserving, but like this does not surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah. Manager, I agree with you. Everything you just said is absolutely correct. Manager of the year: Sam Levine, Kaiser, Coy Jandrew, Tom Dagnino. No, it is the Queen of Corruption. See, now this is where. No, I take that back because the dossier thing that was a group effort. You can't only put that on Dagnino. So I can, yeah.
I agree with, and this is the reason I'm more on the like Finstock winning isn't as much of an upset for faction of the year because Shannon won manager, right? And Shannon's backbone, I wouldn't say is on her whole faction, right? Like Finstock on the whole was just winning head and shoulders above everybody else as a faction versus
Yeah.
corruption being, and there's nothing wrong with this, but they're being carried by their four main players, right?
Yeah.
So, and that has to do with how well they work with Shannon, which means Shannon winning manager of the year makes a lot more sense. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. No, I think it's very deserving. Again, it's her ability as a manager and a leader that I think propels corruption as a faction 2 years in a row now, and we'll see what happens for season 9. Team of the year: Lightning Time, Corruption, King Arthur, Danger Zone, and as a surprise to absolutely nobody, Shazam.
Greatest team of all time.
The greatest team of all time. I agree. Good God, this is a beautiful photo. Like she's sending pictures into like a bantha from Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, I think she just woke up.
I love how Hawaii itself looks like it's in HD. Like not her camera, not the photo. Like just Hawaii itself. Never been.
Yeah. Me neither.
But just a picture, just like out the window is like, whoa. Anyway, yeah, no, it's the greatest team of all time, and they've proven that. And I think that they have a one hell of a season ahead of them to keep earning that title, and I think they'll continue to do so. Star Wars Player of the Year. This kind of boiled down just to who the respective champion of each division is, and for good reason, I think. Gold Leader, Andrew DiMolanta, Nikki DiMolanta, Laura Kelly, all nominated, but the rookie champ in the Star Wars division, Thomas the Major Harper, is the winner. I think he absolutely deserves it. Because he subscribed to the Nerd Academy podcast on YouTube. B, his belt is displayed on his Captain Rex clone armor, and Rex above all other clones. And C, he was incredible this season. It was an absolute machine. And when you have to have a rule made about you, I think that is a level of competence
That is true.
that you can't buy. So,
I
Thomas
think
Harper, Star Wars Player of the Year.
What I'm about to say about Thomas applies to Shazam this season, but also Shazam just in general has proven himself for the past 3 years. But like you said, it's just whoever's holding the belt right now, which isn't abnormal. But this season in particular, everyone that ended up with the belt at the end went undefeated in that division for the season and defended at least once.
You're right.
Which is just insane. Like, Shazam and KO earned their rematch, right? So if they ever lose it this season, I mean, they will probably lose it, both of them this season, I would imagine. but they get the immediate rematch after that. Thomas being a rookie and winning it both digitally and live, proving he's not just, granted, we'll see how he adapts to the Harper rule, but I imagine it will not impede him all that much. And, Marisol just sticking it to him the entire season. So,
Yeah, I agree. Before we get to the last couple awards here, because I wanted to be saucy and do a little commercial break, not because I forgot, because I'm tired and my head hurts. This episode is brought to you by our lovely sponsors at SundaysBloodyMary.com. Go to SundaysBloodyMary.com/shop. Get all the badass Bloody Mary accoutrement your heart could desire. As of last night at time of record, I went on Bombadcast, and Jarod had himself a very strong Bloody Mary, and I killed my jar. So now I get more spicy Caesar mix. But I'm glad because I love this shit so much. And I'm very excited and waiting for whenever they do their new flavor. I think it's going to end up being like an extra spicy. So I'm definitely going to try it. Might not be able to handle it, but I'm at least going to try it. So yeah, but they got that. They have their mild sauce. I keep saying sauce. Their mild mix. Their subscription box, which gets you 2 at a reduced rate or 2 jars at a reduced rate each month. The rim salt, the vegan version of the mix, as well as the pickled garnishes and other merch. So go to sundaysbloodymary.com/shop. Use code TNAP at checkout, and you get 10% off your order, and you help out your favorite nerds. Back to the schmoes. Inner Geekdom player. Chandra Dandapani, Mara Kanopik, Amaru Moses, Robert Parker, but none of them could defeat Mike Kalinowski. He literally beat everyone he was nominated against. So
yeah, it wasn't even close this year.
Hands down. He's the IG GOAT.
I don't like to admit it,
GOAT,
but it's true.
If he can whoop ass this season, he might even be encroaching on Dan Murrell's territory. Slowly but surely. I think he can usurp Murrell if he has a really good season this year. So yeah, no, favorite player of all time. It makes me happy to see him win the way he wins this season. So it was a good year. It's a good year to be a Corruption fan. Singles player of the year: Down Griffey Nooms, Dan Murrell, Ethan Irwin, Janine the Machine, but they all fell before Lady Justice herself, our champion, Marisol McKee. Again, another one well earned. Marisol had a unconventional path to her championship. It was one of those times where you just kind of watch somebody slowly earn their number one contender shot, got it, took it, won it, kept going. So yeah, she has one more match to win so that she can have that auto rematch, which I'm excited to see whom it is against and how it goes. Hopefully, she gets to keep that belt. And overall player of the year, it was Griffin Newman, Mike Kalinowski, Thomas Harper, Ethan Irwin. But again, Lady Justice emerged victorious also with the win there. Yeah, I think that I could have lived with player of the year going to Griffin Newman because of his overall dominance in the 2 main divisions. However, I'm not going to complain about Marisol winning it, so I'm happy with that.
I could have seen Griffin. I could have seen Marisol. I could have seen Mike getting this. Mike being the first one to three-peat in Geekdom is insane. Marisol obviously earning it because she won it. Like you said, Griffin Nooms being just like the dominant singles and teams player this season, collectively. So, yeah, I think this one was really close, but I'm not surprised that Marisol won. It really has gone any which way.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And then our last award here, as we discussed, was the Yodi Award going to John the Outlaw Roca. Say goodbye to the Outlaw. So yeah, that's all we got. I'm happy with the Schmoedown Awards. I think they shook out pretty well. I think that
Yeah.
everyone who deserved their win kind of got them. I think we can also add to the list of celebrities you look like when you style your hair like that. You look like the guy from Heroes. Milo something or other. I can't remember his last name. Not Yiannopoulos, obviously.
No.
No.
I'm not blonde and full of hate.
Me, summer of 2020, blonde and full of hate. No, I'm only partially blonde with so much less hate. No. Yeah, that's all we got, guys. Thank you to $10 patron. No, Jesus Christ. Travis, where can all other people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Travis Political. Jarod,
Yes.
where?
You guys can find me the moment I hit stop going to the bathroom and then taking another nap at Dark Jedi 2552. And you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page.
Give me a dollar!
What's going on, my hobos at the Renaissance Festival? Sorry, my inner Robert Evans activated there for a second. Thank you to our $10 alumnus, the Waffle Wizard, Delta 9, Zach House, Nick, and your friendly neighborhood orthorhinologist. I still can't say it, and he hasn't changed it yet, and I'm getting tired of waiting for him to do it. Thank you, Paco. The Book of Boba Fett season review is coming out next week. And then after that, we're going to do the Versus Tournament live stream. Now that we're done trying to schedule around that. So yeah, that's the big stuff on the horizon. Heroic History 101, Batman Hush will be out at some point. I got to finish reading it. So yeah, thank you all so very much for watching, listening, all that stuff. Smash cancer. And we'll see you guys soon.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!